Episode 34. Episode 34. N.E.O. What's up? What's up?
What
Welcome.
up?
Welcome. It's like a throwback episode and a new episode at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like our first throwback episode, actually, and a new
Um,
episode at the
I
same
don't think
time.
it's the
Did
first
it?
older thing we've reviewed because we did do the Avatar, the old Avatar movie.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
But this
this
is,
is
this
the
is,
furthest back we're going, I think, as of right
yeah,
now.
this is that. It's
And
that
we don't
across the
really
field.
dabble
That
in
pass
older
across the
stuff,
field.
which we are going to start dabbling in older stuff because even you recommended The Devil Wears Prada. So, like, we will be getting into other things.
That was Prada. Yeah, that's later on because they coming out with part two.
Mm-hmm,
But this
mm-hmm.
one right here is a little scarier. A little
Yes.
scarier. Um, it. I
Stephen
don't know how else
King.
to say. I'm just looking for a fancy way to introduce that shit, but just it. Like I
You
don't.
know, before we actually start getting into it, it hit me the other day that we lost ourselves, man. We lost the musical intros.
We used to come in spitting and shit, flowing and
and,
all
and
that.
and you know, I wouldn't even know what music to make up for this, honestly.
I'm about to, yeah, it's it. Like they gave her it's 1990. We doing a 1990 version. You feel me? Like I
Gotta
don't
do
know.
the
Like
circus tune and shit.
yeah, this shit is weird. Yeah. You
But
know what? But doing my history in this shit though, what I didn't know growing up, that I found out recently, that this was a book.
yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah. All Stephen. Well, I
Had
mean
no
Stephen
clue.
King, so most of his stuff comes from books he wrote. So
On the books, right? Yeah,
yes.
had had no clue. You know what I'm trying to say? So I mean, growing up, just being a fan of the movie, I didn't know that. So that was
Well,
interesting. I actually want to read the book now.
you know what a lot
I
of
mean, I
people
want to
think
read.
about this that I always have to correct them, and I feel weird having to correct people who like are older than me and stuff. A lot of people think this is a movie, and it's really a miniseries that's presented as a movie
Nigga, you
later on.
corrected me. I thought it was a movie too. Yeah, remember we
Yeah,
had that conversation. I thought it was a movie.
yeah. It came out in
I
two
had the
parts when it
tape. You
came
can't
out.
tell me it's not a movie. I had it on tape,
Well, when
Cinco.
they
Like, like
repackage
it's
it
a
from
movie.
TV, yeah, when they repackage it from TV, it's a 3 hour movie. But like when it was
I
presented,
put
it
the
was an hour
movie
and a half and
in
an
to
hour and a
watch
half.
the movie. So wait, it was on TV first, three
Yes.
hours and a half.
No, it was a mini series. So like basically what they did is they released the first part. So like that part at the beginning when they're all like reconnecting and stuff like that, remembering their childhood and stuff. That's the first
That's part
part of the
one.
mini series. And then when they like reconnected finally, and then they're like going through that last hour and a half of like, oh, are we really gonna do this? Are we just gonna leave and like then go deal with Pennywise? That's the second part of the mini series, and then they just
All right,
later
so
give it out as a full thing because who the fuck wants two VHSs for
so
this?
the miniseries was their memories because they had everybody had a memory.
Mm-hmm.
That was like an episode, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the first hour and
Those
a
are
half is the first episode. The second hour and a half is the second episode. That's all it is.
a long ass episode, man. Long ass episode. That's a movie, man. That's
Hey,
Marvel status right there, baby. Marvel could have made that shit.
I think that's why they did it in such a way because they didn't want to just drop a 3 hour movie like on TV or something like that. So, because I don't even think this hit theaters when it was like first released. I think it was like just a straight to TV thing.
That I don't know. That I don't. I only had to take, so I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
would only assume that in 1990 they probably just did straight to TV if it's a mini series because like why call it a mini series if you put it out in theaters?
Good question. Good
Maybe they
question.
did.
All
I
right.
never
Well, let's
looked
get.
into that.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. I mean, it's from 1990, so I mean, for the most part, we're pretty sure everybody has seen it. If not, if you haven't seen it, I don't know, go watch it, and there's a new version of it, and even a show. So catch up. If you haven't seen it, this is we're just giving our
And
opinion.
to point
What
out
we thinking.
the stuff because we will be going through the next couple of weeks of doing it, the more recent version, and then the Welcome to Dairy show that follows it. And if
Oh yeah. Oh
anybody
yeah.
has any
Right.
questions, I will put it out right away that the iteration that we're going over today is not meant to be connected to anything else that comes out for it. Like that was its own story, and then they remade the movie, and then Welcome to Dairy, so those two later entities can be a universe storyline. This one, like, yeah, you get Easter eggs and stuff like
Real?
that, but it's not. Yeah, it's like when you do Welcome to Dairy, like obviously it's based on the story from the 1990 movie, but it more connects
Yeah.
to the newer movie. Like they made the newer movie more to fit this storyline that they're doing now.
Okay. Okay. They have so I mean I do know there's two versions of the clown. Of course, there's an updated version, but that updated version is in Welcome to Derry. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
him.
yeah. And
That's
it's
the
not even just
story.
to say that that character is the it we're focusing on, but it's just like they kind of changed some things in the new it, if I'm not mistaken, like kind of retcon, kind of get rid of some stuff just because it fits what they're doing with Welcome to Derry better than what the original movie was.
That makes sense. Updated stories, make it a little better. You know what I mean? Better writing and all that.
Yes,
Add to it.
yes,
So like, that makes
yes.
sense.
I
That makes
guess
sense. That
we'll
makes sense.
breeze through the story real quick and then talk about our thoughts on what was going on because there's not much that really goes on in this movie. Like it for maybe in 1990 we'd have a lot more to say about this, but in 2026, I'm not knocking it for
Yeah,
being a simpler movie
I
because it
mean,
probably was impactful.
I'm gonna give y'all some of my favorite parts. I'm gonna give y'all some of my favorite
Yeah,
parts. I'm gonna give y'all some of the corny ass parts that I think that happened, and Sync
this
gonna
was probably
share
way
some of
more
his.
impactful in 1990 than it is watching it in 2026 when you got all these other like CGI as
Yeah,
hell movies going on. But the first thing I'm gonna point out is Bev Marsh, man, she's an interesting character. She's all over the place. I'm not gonna lie.
for
Every time I watch
the
this
one with
movie,
the father. You talking about
yeah, yeah. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, Bev is a mess, bro. Because if you think
her?
about this, when you first meet Bev, she's in like this dictatorship relationship with her boss or something like that, right?
Yep. Nigga want
Then
her to leave. How
she
you bring
gets
out the belt? Nigga brought out the belt.
this is what I'm saying. Her story is weird. So let me brief the story of what happens here, and then I'll go back to Bev. So basically, these guys are starting to have like these weird occurrences going on because the story for it is like every 27, every 30 years or so. Because I think in this movie it's 30. I think in the newer stuff is 27. I could be mistaken, but it comes back to feed, and these guys are starting to have weird occurrences because it's that time. It's that time of the I guess the century. I guess for him to return,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they end up to
Eden
start
time.
remembering, and our I guess our main character, who's not the only main character, but Mike Hanlon starts calling everybody up to be like, "Hey, we made a promise back when we were kids, and we all have to meet up because it's happening again." And most of these guys have moved on. They left Derry except for Mike, and they start having to remember things that they weren't remembering for all their lives once they left Derry. And they remember they
Right,
made
because
a
when you
pact.
leave Derry, apparently you forget.
Yes,
You just forget about
that
it.
is the
You forget
thing
about
about Derry, that Derry is a hot zone for weird shit, and it's kind of a center point for a lot of Stephen King stuff. Even though not every one of his stories are in Derry, but the stuff that goes on in Derry kind of is important to a lot of his stories. But
don't they
from
have
what I
like some
understand,
type of verse, like universe for all this?
yeah, there is a universe that's like tied to some dark power that's like not even on Earth. So like it's more like I think it's called the Dark Tower,
Right. It's like
and
it's sending stuff there, right? Something like that.
something like that, because realistically like the it you see in the movies isn't even, it's like a doomsday type thing. How well, Dark Side, you know how Dark Side never really sends his real body type shit. That's what
Sends
it is
like
kind of like. He
like a
sends
host,
like a vessel
like
body
a
or some
host
shit
body
like
or
that.
something, like a
Yeah,
vessel. Yeah.
that's why when
Yeah.
in the movie you hear Pennywise go, "Man, you think you can really see me?" Like he's basically like, you don't see the real me, you see what I send you. Like,
Right.
but
Right. Makes sense.
so
He
yeah,
becomes a big ass spider.
basically from there they just reconnect and they basically just plot on if they're actually going to do something about Pennywise again or not. And it's basically just a bunch of them remembering things from the past and mustering up the courage to go do something about it in the future, in the present. So back to Beverly Marsh. Beverly Marsh has this boss who's her boyfriend or whatever he is, and they literally go from holding hands at work, about to go have a conversation with some executives, to the next scene of them being in bed together, and she's getting the call from Mike Hanlon. This guy is like honestly the weirdest strict boyfriend ever, because he's strict as fuck. Won't even let coworkers tell Bev to do certain things without checking him and saying no, she ain't doing that. But then when she gets a call at like 2 in the morning, he doesn't even bat an eye. Like, whatever. But then when she gets back to town and finally meets up with everybody, and she pops up at the restaurant and she passes out, what does she do
Oh
when she
yeah.
wakes up? She wakes up and instantly kisses Richie on the mouth. Like, and then she
Yeah.
goes down the line. She hugs Mike, and then she's got like the awkward, like extra long touchiness with Mike Hanlon. Then you got Ben in the background, who is my man from Three's Company, John Ritter, I think
Oh
his
yeah,
name
that's my
is.
guy.
That's the guy from
Doesn't she end
Three's
up with
Company.
Ben?
at the end. But that, yeah. What the even weirder part is between that, she sees Ben. She says, "Hey," she's like, "Where's Bill?" And they're like, "Bill's right behind you." And then she sees Billy, and she has this biggest makeout session with Billy in the restaurant, who's also married. So I'm just like, Marsh, you're like the pass around. That's not a pass around, bro. Like, what's going on?
Apparently, she's supposed to get that from her relationship with her dad.
Yes,
That
yes,
fucked her relationship
I
from her to
totally
dad.
get
I
that,
was
but I'm
tied
like,
into that scene.
what an odd thing to throw into her character is to just make her
Yeah,
like,
she
oh
was
no.
definitely promiscuous as fuck with that group she was wild with.
I'm like, yo, everybody had their hands on Bev at some point in this movie, bro. Like maybe not in the most
Yeah, I'm
sexual
pretty
way,
sure. We're
but like
pretty sure the black man did too.
everybody was touching up on Bev at some point. There was even a point before she was even like comfortable with with Ben, when she was like, "Oh, Ben, it's you who wrote the poem," where she's like just sitting between his legs and he's massaging the fuck out of her, and I'm just like, "Yo, what?" Like, Bill, check your mans. If that's supposed to be your girl, check your mans. But because it's not really his girl, and he's got a wife at
Yeah,
home.
Ben wasn't that popular until he got older and left Derry.
Yeah, but think about it, she still wasn't really into him. She really got into him once he realized
Yeah,
that
she came back. Yeah,
he's the one that wrote that poem, and that's like literally in the last like 20 minutes of the movie, of the 3 hours.
and they end up together. You know what? Let's talk about the last couple of minutes of the movie. Why the hell did they ride down that hill like that?
On the bike. Oh my god, I thought that
Like,
too. I didn't
yo,
even think
what
about it
the
the
fuck
first
was
time I
going
saw
on?
it. The first time I saw it like years ago, I didn't even think about that shit. But today I watched it again just to make sure I was up to shit. I was like, why the
Me
fuck?
too. That's what I'm saying.
Because
I'm
they
like, what
showed that
time is it?
POV going down the hill, and I'm like, so what if she wakes up and just like starts crashing out? Like, what the fuck is going on? You're fucked, bro. Like, like literally in that moment when they stopped, they could have got smacked by a car, bro.
Like, but
Like,
why did he think a near death experience was the way to go? Why
the
was that her
adrenaline
way?
rush, I guess.
Her
Maybe
way of
he thought.
shocking her up.
Maybe he thought the body being like in that shock. You know, like when people fall out the bed in their sleep and they wake up and shit because of that adrenaline, that rush. Maybe he
But the
thought
crazy
that, and
thing
it
was,
worked.
all he did was ride. Remember, he rode the bike earlier, but he didn't have a near death experience. He just rode the bike and had that adrenaline. He tried to
There's
kill her. You wild.
I know, right? It went from being
He went down the
flashbacks to him and
steepest
Mike.
hill, and he felt the steepest hill in the movie. And he didn't even wait for the lights either. He went when the
He was
shit
just
was
flying through
already.
cars and shit like that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he
he
was
was bobbing
balling.
and weaving through traffic too. I'm like,
Like,
yo,
yo,
dog, do
what are
you
you
love this woman?
doing,
Do you love this woman? I think he was
dude?
more on a if you're gonna be like this, we can both die together type of thing.
Yo, that nigga was high. That nigga was high. It.
I like how the bike went from being like a from was like this waking up Audra thing, but at the beginning the bike was like really just this weird giddy thing between him and Mike Hanlon and shit. Like I found that scene to be so cheesy because I'm like, look at these two dudes, but this is like the '90s, so like, well, actually no,
I
not
know,
even.
right?
It's
Yeah.
like the fucking '60s at that point when they
It's
were
real
riding
some
the bike around.
love shit.
Yeah, I was like,
Get the
these
shit
guys
out of
got the illest bromance going on here, bro. Mike and Bill, like, might be, and they just not acting on it.
here.
But whatever.
Riding bikes and shit like that. It was happy as fuck going down. I'm like, look at these two dudes.
Like, but it made me think about how simple a time like the '90s and shit must have been. Like, imagine being 30 in our age now
Yeah,
in the '90s, bro. Like, it must have been so much easier. This nigga Mike
I
bought a
know.
house being a librarian, bro. Like, what the fuck? Can a librarian do that
Yeah,
today?
that's pretty cool. I can imagine they like in their 30s. They get up anytime, ride bikes and shit like that. We in our 30s. We just talk about trying to get
Honestly,
up.
they were
This
like
shit's
in their
different.
40s.
Feel me? Like,
Yeah,
come
they're
on,
like in
man.
their
Like,
40s.
that time was much freer. You know what I mean?
So
They had
simple,
much more
man. My,
freedom.
my boy Mike Hanlon had the illest time just riding that bike onto the seesaw and then going down the other end, bro. And that boy Bill in 40 was like, oh my God, like, oh, you're so crazy.
All right, yo, we know what we not. It's the movie's called It. We haven't spoke about the damn clown yet. What did you think about the fucking clown? My favorite, like, I thought when I was younger, this movie was this movie was terrifying.
Yeah.
Feel me? It was terrifying. Like this shit was scary. It was suspenseful. You know what I mean? Had the anxiety going as a kid. I didn't even know what anxiety was. Just you know what I mean? Just wow. The clown now a little corny clown and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Now the white paste on his head looks all funny and shit
No,
like
when he
that.
was
But
kissing Ben, bro, when Ben was all he was
oh,
kissing
D,
and the
yo,
makeup was on his face, I was crying, bro.
oh D, bro, oh D.
He's like, "Give me a
Nah,
kiss, fat boy."
cool. Nah, but I can say, my favorite part though in the movie though with it is when he's in the pictures moving. Like I like every time they had him on some shit like that. Like
When he was
it
just
was like
popping up into
something they
some
was looking
really
at.
awkward place that's
Like
not
remember
real.
they was kids and they was looking at the book when I think his name what's the black man name?
Mike
I'm bad with
Hanlon,
names. Mike, yeah, when Mike was showing them first his clues and shit
aka
like
the
that and
dad
started
from
moving
Sister
in the book, I thought that was
Sister,
cool. What happened?
aka the dad from Sister Sister.
That's my guy. That's my
Yeah,
guy, man.
Tim Reed in
Raised
the
them twins
building.
well.
Yes. Do I have a favorite moment? I honestly, yeah, the moments when Pennywise is like bothering the kids, uh, those are the best moments in the movie. And you're right. Like when I first watched this, I actually first watched this when like maybe 6 years ago, like maybe 6 to 8 years ago.
What?
Yeah, because I wasn't really into movies and stuff like that growing up. Like whatever my grandmother and my mom put on back in the day was cool. And I would just watch that shit. Um, like after high
Wow, I probably
school,
saw this like 1995, 1996.
yeah,
I was
like
like
after
5,
high
6 years
school and
old.
shit like that, I was like more into like running around and doing sports, so I wasn't really home just watching TV and movies. I really just got into watching like the animes and the movies, hard body, like maybe in the last like 10 to 12 years, where I just started
Mm.
watching
Mm.
mad stuff and being like, I'm catching up on as much as I can. Um,
Hey, fuck it.
like whenever
Yeah.
Marvel started really booming, I kind of started falling more into the
The
media type
movies and
stuff.
all
Yeah,
that.
because I found a
Yeah.
lot of TV and like yeah, a lot of TV and media to just be lame years ago. Especially when reality TV was starting to boom and like Flavor of
Yo,
Love and shit was like out. I was like, TV's kind of just
that's when
fucking
I
whack.
stopped watching TV. I
Yeah,
stopped watching TV on reality
I
TV
was like,
time.
TV is kind of whack. And then I had to catch up on things like Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad because I was like missing all that kind of stuff. But
Game of Thrones is pretty fine. Game of Thrones is pretty fine.
so on this second watch, the second and third watch that I gave it, I was definitely like, yo, the Pennywise moments are the most interesting moments in the movie, but they are cheesy as shit.
Cheesy as shit.
Yeah,
Cheesy
cause
as shit. Even at the end, when they got the rock and they slingshot the nigga in the stomach, and they get like all of a sudden they kill this big ass spider. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on
he
here?
stumbles back, and then they just start pulling on him. I don't even know what they pull out of him.
Yo, that was crazy. Why they did that for? They held him up like Simba and shit. That was wild.
Yeah, they all just pride rocked his ass and shit, bro.
Like, yo, I was like, yo, what's going on here? Like, this is weird.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but I thought it was a good way to at least add some spice because I feel like realistically, if I had watched this in the mini series presentation in current day, that first hour and a half without going right into the second hour and a half is boring as fuck.
You
All
think
you're
so?
I think the first bit of the movie where they're just like remembering the past is kind of boring. Because they're just basically remembering how Pennywise was teasing them back in the day. They don't even really
That nigga was fucking with them, man.
they don't even really show you. But realistically, he was fucking with him, but he wasn't even doing nothing to him. He was just teasing the fuck out of him, really.
He turned into Teen Wolf. That was funny.
Yeah, he was the dude's dad in the fucking lake thing and all this other stuff. The voices in the sink, which he uses that trick again. Well, actually, technically, he's using it again for the multiple time, however many times in that movie. Because you'll find out as we go on, the new story that we get gives you a prequel story at some point. So, I look forward to you seeing the rest of that as we go through our
I
eighth
feel
journey.
like they had some sort of prequel story in the miniseries. Like I think when there was
He
a part
mentions
where
it.
they did, yeah, there was a part where they did tell like his history a little bit.
Yeah, Mike
I always
Hanlon
thought that was
mentions it. Because he brings up the time how it's every 30 years, and if you go back to the event here and then you go back to the steel mill and the
right.
so one of the
Yeah,
events is what Welcome to Derry is based off of.
yeah, the skid mill. That's the one I was remembering
Yeah,
right there.
so when one of the events that he brought up is what Welcome to Derry touches on. So like we're gonna see that when you
Okay,
get there.
yeah,
And I actually look forward to watching that again so I can pick up more things that I didn't catch the first time.
yeah. I have not watched that series yet. I have to tap it. I've seen the movie, but I haven't watched the series.
But that's all the first part of the movie is them just remembering the past and him just playing on their desires and their fears. Because think about it, that's either what he does. He either gives you your desires, but does it in the creepiest way ever. So you're like, creep the fuck out. And where did this come from? Because like he was doing things like for Ben, he showed him his dad, and that's exactly what he was missing was his dad. So like he would
True.
play those kind of cards. He would find out what you like, and then turn it into something you feared, basically.
I can say growing up, the scariest one was the first one. Well, nah, he the second one, Richie. Richie was the second one because the first one was the girl in the movie, and then the little girl, and that's when he was like, "Yeah, I gotta. This is happening again. I gotta call everybody." But then right after that, when I think his name is what Will, that's his
Which
older
one?
brother.
With,
Richie, Richie's older brother.
Richie's not the one with the sibling, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Bill is
I'm
the
getting
one. Bill is the one that has Georgie as the little brother.
Georgie. That's the name I'm getting wrong. My fault. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a non.
Georgie Denberg and Bill Denberg.
Georgie, yeah, Georgie. That growing up, that was some scary shit, bro. Real
When
talk.
Georgie
Because,
came back and was like, "You're the reason I'm dead."
but even so, like, I like going outside, like in real life. After that, like on a rainy day, looking at drinks. Like I remember as a kid, like thinking of that nigga, like, nah, I stayed away from that shit. Like,
We all float down here, Georgie.
like, yo, hell no.
Honestly, that's actually one of the better moments too. When Georgie reappears at the end toward the end, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the reason why we dead and all that kind of stuff," and Bill's just like, "Nah, we ain't believing that. We ain't buying that shit." So, because that's really
One
what
of the
Pennywise fears
one of the,
feeds off of his fear. You have to fear him for him
yeah,
to be effective.
one of the illest lines is we all float. We all float down here. Like I don't know what that line just hit. Like it just like that's
I
some
don't
scary
even
shit.
know what he really means, because like,
Like yo, for real. Like
it
honestly,
can't
like
be just
everybody
be.
dead down there.
Yeah, like so. What in what sense do you mean float, sir?
I don't know, but that line just always stuck. Like we all float there. I'm like, yo, that's some scary shit,
And that's the thing about the whole it verse is like I'm not necessarily interested in the actions of it. I'm more interested in understanding what it is as a concept in general. Because they never
Now let me ask
really
you
give you
something.
a solid answer on that. It's always vague about what he is or it.
Let me ask you something. You said the Dark Tower. It comes from a song called the Dark Tower. Did Stephen King make that movie Dark Tower with
I
Idris
think
Elba?
that's separate. I think that's a separate entity from the Dark Tower that
Oh,
Stephen King
okay.
actually
Because
wrote. I
that's
think it's
also
loosely
like in that
based
movie.
though.
That's also like the center of something, and I'm like, oh,
I
okay.
think it's
Is
loosely
that
based
connected?
off the Stephen King concept, but I don't know if that's actually like part of the Stephen King concept. But I know the people who did Welcome to Derry are trying to do like an expanded universe, so maybe we get a movie that touches on the Dark Tower. Because essentially what they're doing is they're taking Stephen King's work and kind of like twisting and manipulating it a little bit so it fits a storyline that actually is like more cohesive. Because what is it? The Shining, I think it
Yeah,
is. Is that the one with the hotel?
yeah, yep.
That character is relevant to stuff that goes on in Derry at some point. So you'll see that as time goes on also. Yeah, so that's really where I'm at. It is an interesting character. Um Rest in peace, Eddie, who sacrificed himself for his friends.
Rest in peace, Eddie. Man, right at the end, you almost made it, dog.
Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, does any of the losers die? And then Stanley commits suicide. Because I felt bad that Stanley's
He
character was
went out.
given
He
that.
went out. He went out bad, man. He went
Yeah,
out bad. He really
I kind
couldn't
of
take
felt bad
it.
that they didn't give him like a fighting chance. That he was like, so I don't want to deal with this again. That he took himself out. I was like, ah,
What was interesting about him was that of course, he had the worst experience with it because they said he quote
the
unquote seen
deadlights.
him, but yeah,
Well,
he
he
seen
saw
the
the
deadlights, and
deadlights, which
yeah,
is
he saw the deadlights
what they
but
all saw at
survived.
the end.
Right, but when he got the call, I guess because he saw the deadlights, he didn't need to go back to Derry to remember. He remembered right away. It was like, oh hell no, I ain't going back there.
Yeah. I think him and Ben were like the worst of it because like they seemed to not really like Ben was remembering stuff when he was still out of Derry. Like he was having flashbacks heavy, like, and maybe that's because he was
Right.
having a night out drinking with that chick. But
I think it was really though because Ben had the beef with the gangsters, and then the gangsters got sucked up and ate up by it in that pipe. That was a pause. That was crazy. Wow, that was pause. That was wow.
I didn't even
But
think of
yeah,
that. But yeah,
that was crazy.
hey, we'll just
But
say they got
like,
Super Mario'd.
yeah, you feel me? Like, yeah, he got chopped up out of there. The other dude, hair turned white, and he went all old and crazy and shit. So I feel like that connection. Then yeah, like they had the worst experiences with it. Like what I mean. So
No, they
it makes
definitely
sense.
did.
Makes sense why their memories was like
Yeah, they had more
haywire.
of a connection to what was going on. I mean, like, yeah, realistic because the other ones, like, Bev had the dad issues, but other than that, like, she really didn't deal with much else crazy shit. Like the
Yeah,
bullies were bullies, but like they didn't really go hard on Bev. They were just creeps and shit.
right. They
Rich
put the
really
knife
didn't
to
care.
Ben.
Rich didn't really care about the bullies. He was like the most like, fuck y'all niggas, man. We don't give a shit. You better come over
Nah, yeah,
here.
they beat the niggas with the rocks. That was a cool part. I used to like that part when I was younger.
Yo, bro, he really pelted that motherfucker,
He beat him with the rocks.
right?
I said,
Yo,
"Oh
I was
shit!"
thinking that. I was like, yo, that's a little too far, ain't it? Like they about to stone this man, bro.
Like that's not a stunt. Like who's what stunt man is that? He
Like
hit
they
him
came
really
down and
hit
hit
the
him with the rock. I was like, yo, bro, that's like actually like damaging stuff right there, bro. Like that's murder. That's attempted murder.
Yeah, nah, that was a cool part too.
They hang around that
Um,
movie theater a lot as kids. I'm not gonna lie, I noticed that. Like they were always
I think that
almost
was
everything
something
that
everybody
happened.
did back in that
Yeah,
day.
almost everything that happened was near that movie theater. They ran down that little side road like 5 times.
Like I'm about to say, you got to think like the movie theater in the woods was like all people had back then. Like that's all they had. Had to go to the movie theaters, or if not, we going to the woods.
Like I really wish I saw this in the '90s because I wonder how I would feel differently if I was able to be hit with this kind of stuff when this was like high tier stuff. Because I could definitely I already know
Listen, man.
me
Me
seeing
and my
all the
little
stuff I
brother,
see now takes away from
me and
me
my
appreciating this.
little brother used to tear this up on the tape, and he became the bigger it fan actually. He's way into more horror than I am. And yeah, he's a big fan of it. Like what I mean, he's a big fan of it. Actually, we should have had this nigga on the show. To tell you the truth,
Nah,
it's
he
my
probably
fault.
tell
I
us
didn't get
everything.
him.
Maybe when we do Welcome to
Right,
Dairy, it'll be good because
right,
since it's
yeah,
got
because
backstory to it.
he's really into it. Like he's into it, and like he like Children of the Corn and all that. Like he likes all those '90s horror movies and stuff like
That's a
that. He's
good
deep
one. I
into it.
actually watched Children of the Corn and I enjoyed that
Yeah,
too.
Children of the Corn. I would have said let's do those, but it's just a lot. Like it's a
Yeah.
lot of movies. Like they kept going and going and going.
Mm. We can squeeze it in at
I'm
some point, you know.
like, yeah, I mean,
Maybe not. Maybe if
we
not this
talk about
year. Maybe if not this year, we'll get into it sometime. Maybe next October
that.
we'll do
Maybe
all the
next year. Something.
we'll make it Halloween month next year or some shit like that. If no
Oh
big
yeah,
movies
there's
are
like
coming
we
out.
might something like that. We play a song.
I'm trying to think
But
if there's
as
anything
far as
else.
it though, are we leaving a grade for it? This is the old school thing. We
Oh,
still leaving a.
we can grade. Yeah, yeah. I think we can grade.
I didn't think about my grade. What I would grade this. I didn't think about that honestly.
So like I have to go into a different thought process for this because I'm like, yeah, I can't grade this off of comparing it to things today. That's not even fair. Like that's not
Right,
even
like I
fair.
wouldn't even know. I'm like everything was kind of like low budget compared to today. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like I
But
don't
I
know.
also have to go with the fact that I'm not gonna sit here and try to put myself in the '90s and be like, oh man, in the '90s this must have been like an 8 out of 10. Like I'm not gonna do that either. So I'm gonna try to balance and meet myself in the middle. The movie story is not bad, but it's not the most interesting thing. The events that play out aren't the most groundbreaking events that play out. I don't take away from them because there's such limitations on what they could do in the '90s. Like when I seen the spider thing, I was like, "What the fuck, cheesy."
Like, who thought of that? Who thought of
But at the end of the day, that's what a lot of shit looked like in the '90s, bro. When you seen things that weren't really there, they stood out as not really there. The
Like,
death of
word.
the spider really bothers me because I'm like, well, the perceived death of the spider bothers me. Yeah, that whole shit. The pulling on the legs was not it for me. Uh, I think
Lift
I'm
with
gonna
the
go with
guts was
something
good.
like 6.8 on this out of 10.
6.8.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it like a 6.8. I feel like
Not
it just
bad.
misses the 7 for me, just cause me and if it was like just a hey, let me put myself in the '90s and grade this based off of that, it'd be like a 7.5. But me having to
Right.
like look at the test of time, it still is solid. It's just not that great.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
the
I could say
remakes make a way better, way more interesting story. So I think it's just a way more interesting viewing experience when you watch the new version.
I think it's definitely one of the better movies from the '90s that lasted the test of time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or I should say, it's just one of the movies that better lasted the test of time. I should say it like that. Yeah. Um, I would kind of do it the same way. Like, you know what I mean? I break it down. Can't go too hard on it because it is what it is. But it's a for me. I like the story. The whole story of this entity being some shit we don't know and it's been here for years and it's just creeping it out. Like you said, what they show, it's not wowing, but it makes for an okay movie. Made for an okay movie back when I saw it. I was younger when I saw it, so it was a little bit more for me then. But I'm not going to judge it like I like back when I saw it back in '96 or some shit. You know what I mean? Like we
Mm-hmm.
ain't not doing that.
Totally get
Like so, I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I'm
I'm
gonna
cool
go a
with
little
that.
bit lower than you, 6.5, because again, the story is interesting, and I'm honestly, I seen the second movie. They didn't go too far. They added a lot more detail. They changed some details, added some, but again, it kind of keeps the same story with this entity that's always been here. It has been doing this for years, and I guess we're just getting more of why in the movie and with the Welcome with Derry. But this one, it lays a good foundation. You know what I mean? Good foundation of introducing that.
You know
Even if
me.
even if the two stories are separated.
You know me, and I'm a big proponent of, your antagonist, your villain, your problem is really important to what makes your movie. And this is one of those things where it's like I have no problem with Pennywise and what they were doing with it in the time period that they were in. My thing is more about the things surrounding the clown and its entity, because like they do a good job of like pulling in interest of what is behind the clown. They do a good job of like making you be like, what are these deadlights per se? Like, what is the actual effect and stuff like that?
Mm.
If you are thinking in that grander scheme, you're like, what is this power source? If you're familiar with the Stephen King stuff, so they do a good job of positioning that. It's almost everything else to me that's like a letdown. These characters, like the Losers Club, is only relevant because they're the Losers Club. Like if they were just like if there was another movie prior to this, and then they were like, "This is it, part two, and the Loser Clubs are the new group that he's bothering," I'd be like, "Damn, get these guys out of my face." but uh, but they're the first, so like
I know
I
what you
don't
mean.
feel that way about them. They're like the first group, so like I can't really talk
Right,
bad
right,
about
right.
them. But like him bothering the kids or just the town being, 'cause that's really all the movie is up until the fight, is him bothering kids and the town just being weird as fuck. Like that's
And
it.
the town knowing about it, but they just like on some hush shit, like
Actually, that's the thing too, is like how many people know about it, because I'm pretty sure not everybody knows about it, because like when blood would splatter, people were not seeing the blood. There's no way you just act like blood's not there. Like there's no way
But
everybody's just like, when we see
when
blood we act
Georgie
like it ain't
died,
there.
the lady was in the window.
That's true, but that's why I say not everybody knows, but some people are aware, and I think and normally they're older people.
Right, she
So
was mad old. She was old.
yeah,
She was
so
old.
what I think it is it plays into that every 30 years thing, that like people who are around to see the events from 30 years and like believe, because remember that was a big thing about Pennywise, is they have to believe
You
in
had
it
to believe, yeah.
for it to be an effective thing. So those people are the ones who are like looking away and acting like nothing's happening, because they're like, we're not dealing with this again. If we act like it ain't there, it can't bother us and stuff like that. But then other people are just clueless because they never believed in the first place.
Right, right, right. I wonder if the people who believe, like, if the belief only comes back around, like if it comes back like how the memories came back for the group, like
Well,
every
they
30
don't
years.
leave
Not
Derry.
that it
You
lingers,
have to
but
leave
what if it
Derry.
just pops up?
That's the whole
What
thing, though.
happened?
That only really affects people who leave Derry.
Mm.
So my
Oh yeah, because
mindset
the other
would
guy knew
go,
about it. The other guy he never forgot.
Mike, yeah, Mike
Mike.
never forgot. But Mike came into town and was already researching this shit. Cause remember, that was one of the points toward the end of the movie. They were like, "Oh, so you always knew that this was like a thing." You could remember when he was a
Right,
kid,
yeah,
he
that's
brought up
true.
the
Yeah,
events and we're like, "How
he
do?"
already believed.
Yeah, when as soon as he got there and he started learning about the shit in Derry, he already was like, "Oh, something is definitely up." And I think
And it
that's
was like
why the people in Derry would know. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they dealt with Pennywise himself, but they and their family have been there long enough to pass down the stories of what has happened in Derry.
hmm.
So I think it's along those lines more than they are all people who have dealt with Pennywise themselves. They
It's more
know that
like
they
just
live in a corrupt town.
it's just more the town. Like yeah, just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
town.
yeah.
It's,
It's like just a hot spot for bad shit. And they know, and they don't exactly know what it is, but when things start happening every 30 years, they're like, here we go again. Yeah.
well, I could say I'm definitely looking forward to Welcome to Derry after this review of it
That was a fun ride.
1990 because yeah, that's just interesting. It's interesting to see where they're gonna take the story. You mentioned that the two stories are separate, so that's cool. I'm cool with that. But I would just like to see the details now. Like you know what I mean? Like let's see why, who's involved. And apparently did I'm just gonna ask the general question like about Welcome to Derry real quick. Um do they like explain like who started this, where it started, when it started? Like, do they even get to like that
No, they don't really.
real
They
deep?
don't really give you. They don't really give you answers in Welcome to Derry, but they like. What do I want to explain that as? Welcome to Derry is more like just the looking back on the past. Realistically, that's kind of all it is.
Okay,
Cause
I
it's
like that. I like that. Honestly, I like that. And for it, like I mentioned, I like the mysterious, the mystique of the past. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what's back there? Like you know what I'm saying? What happened? I really want to know when did this start. Like I
they
want to know the
kind of build
first
on the
time.
mystery more than anything. Like they don't really like murk
It
things
does.
up more, but they build on the mystery more in a sense.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm interested. I'm very interested now in looking like watching that show now because I mean I knew this review was coming up, but even before the review, I knew the show was out. I was like, I'm not sure I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
watch
interesting because you're gonna see like how they take interesting paths to introduce not introducing but making connections to like the characters in Welcome to Derry to the characters in the It movies because you gotta remember we're going backwards. So these guys that we're gonna be watching are 30 years prior to when the Losers Club as kids deal with Pennywise.
it. Right?
So it's
Yeah.
60 years prior to like them as adults.
So when they actually kill him,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they changed the dates in the new Welcome to Derry, because in what I mean in it now, the adults are taking place in 1990. So the timeline would be 1960 when they were kids, and then 1930 would be when Welcome to Derry is taking place. I don't know if that's the
right?
same timeline for what they're doing now with the It franchise, or if they've like made it more modern time, where like the kids in Welcome to Derry are like 1960 or some weird shit. But that stuff I gotta go like dig into more when I rewatch it again, because I definitely am rewatching all 10 episodes.
Yeah, we'll check it out. We're gonna spin on that. We're gonna spin on that.
But that is our Welcome to
All right,
Derry. I
shit.
mean, that is it. 1990. Oh, I will say, shout out Tim Curry because he's probably the best performance in the whole fucking show thing. Pennywise
Yo, fact.
himself.
Yeah,
Like
nah, facts.
I
Yeah, he
can't
definitely
really
held it
knock
up.
anybody.
Damn.
Yeah, I can't really knock anybody, but like, does anybody really stand out with like giving a stellar performance? Um, Billy at times is convincing, and then at times Billy is like just the most unconvincing, unserious thing ever. Sometimes his way of
Anyway,
handling the stutter was just like cheese, corn, cringe. I was like, ugh, he's forcing the stutter.
I would say that's funny. I would say they're all like pretty on the same plane for me. Pennywise was what I'm saying, the cream I'm feeling. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Did I say that right? Did I say that right? I don't know what's going on. I
I
don't know.
don't even know if that's a saying, but that was
What's
almost
the
an
why you
AO.
said the cream of the
I
crop?
almost felt like that
Why
was
you
getting
say
close to an AO. And you know, I'm not
You
even the
gotta cut
quickest to
that out.
AO shit, but I was like, whoa,
You
this
gotta
just doesn't
cut
feel
that
right.
out.
This just don't feel right.
You gotta cut that out.
Nah, man. Nah. They gonna laugh with this just like we did.
Oh, oh
But
shit.
folks, man, that's episode 34. Welcome
Oh my
to
god.
Dairy on the way soon. We will be covering it in our next video just to give you all the spoilers. The more recent version, I don't even know when that came out. Was it like 2020, 2019? I don't even remember.
It
But
was something like that.
and that's
What is
another
that? 2 movies?
two-parter. Yeah, it's 2 movies,
That's
but we'll
2 movies.
cover both of them in one. I don't feel like we're not spreading that the fuck out. Nah.
That's basically,
And
yeah,
it's
let's watch
basically the
that
same
shit.
amount. It's literally the same amount of time that you watched the first movie. So same shit. They just presented it as 2 movies instead of a miniseries.
That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. All right, y'all.
So a
Listen,
6.8
that's
from me, a
N.E.O.
6.5 from Mo, and this is N.E.O. Like,
Yeah.
comment, subscribe, do all that other stuff, and let us know what you thought about it 1990 and if you enjoyed it.
I can't stop laughing now.
and I and I hope you guys have watched all the other stuff because we want to hear your opinions on all this. I feel like this is gonna be one of the funner things to deep dive in if we do deep dive into
Oh
it.
my god.
So
Yo, Blak, we out of here. Out of here.
peace.